There is an identity in me that I have pointed out before, I have noticed before, and I'm just noticing it more now and acknowledging it more because it's deep. The identity of the unrequited lover. The one whose love is so good and so pure and is content to just love from a distance and never have it returned. And that identity is so secure in itself. I don't know what hair is doing. That the returning of love, the actual reception of this same love, genuine, article, unconditional, real love, to have that given, to receive that, is actually a threat to this identity, to this self. And as such, it reacts with the sensation of insecurity. It's so secure and well established in its experience and expectation of loving without reciprocation that to actually be reciprocated is a tremendous threat to it, throws it off balance, because it causes it to diminish. It actually diminishes this identity, this aspect within the ego, makes it feel smaller, because it's calling into question everything that it had built itself upon. And so its reaction to actually receiving love and affirmation of worthiness is to go, oh no, no, no. Oh no. You can't do that. You can't love me. You can't love me back. Then this whole constructed identity falls apart. You're directly contradicting the narrative that this self was based upon. And then it has no basis. The claims of being the unrequited lover, that self, become baseless. They are proven, in fact, to be untrue. And now this self is wrong. It's incorrect in its assumptions about the nature of self. This very identity, which has a life of its own, becomes diminished, becomes smaller, is revealed to be false, revealed to be untrue, just an illusion. And it doesn't like that. It doesn't like that one bit. It feels safe at a distance. To have the trick revealed, it has no more power. It is opening the curtain and seeing the man behind it. No mighty wizard there, but a small, frightened man, puffing up quite large. In an attempt to feel secure, ultimately. It is just such a curious thing to witness. It is the pure desire of myself, of my soul, to love and receive love in equal measure. To receive what I feel, am inspired to, and not by any obligation, not by duty, because it is equally inspired. My love feels good to me. It feels good to give. That part of the equation I'm really good at. I'm really good at loving. And I've gotten fairly good at showering that love for myself. Now, there are components of me which still reject that, and that's okay. That is okay. But the really challenging endeavor has been to allow love in from without. It's one thing to give and receive it within myself. It's another to allow it to be showered upon me and receive it from another. Because again, there is so much in the mind, in ego, that says that that's dangerous. It's unpredictable, it's unfamiliar. Here I am marveling again at this this paradox within the mind, that it fears rejection for the pain of it, but it fears acceptance for the unfamiliarity. And so there's no out there. It creates a lose-lose scenario. The only option really is to see that it is profoundly insane and just disregard it. Disregard its reasoning, which is utterly illogical. And how funny a thing it is that in the receiving of love and affirmation of worthiness, significant portions of ego feel diminished, feel smaller. In the approval of self, there is a feeling of diminishment. Because there are so many of these established identities within which had my identification for a significant period of time. And the identities are being called into question. One by one, they are being exposed as false, as unreliable narrators of my life experience. This narrative that has been carried forth of the one who is unwanted, who is unacceptable, who is unloved, who loves so deeply and yet could never have that possibly returned. That narrative and that narrator are being proven false. And they're not happy about it. And I can just let that be. I'm not trying to change anything here. I'm just acknowledging what I've noticed, what I'm witnessing, what I have repeatedly, but it's come up again this morning. So why not look at it? Why not give it some space in the light right now? It is the part of my present experience. Recognizing this thing that feels safe in assuming that I am not wanted, not reciprocated. Yeah, it gets a twisted satisfaction in that, quite clearly. Quite clearly, it takes pleasure in that. I'm not going to judge that pleasure. I'm just going to acknowledge it. Not gonna shame it or tell it to stop. Just gonna notice that it's doing that. That's all. Just noticing. I don't know if I would call it a wound of worthiness, or really this thing that wants to be unworthy and wants to have that proven and asserted and affirmed. A little bit of both. I don't know. It's a curious thing. I'm sure it will continue to reveal itself. And that's all okay. I don't think I have anything more to say. Just acknowledging this. It is this sort of... I just keep coming back to Cyrano de Bergerac because that is what I associate this feeling with. That character, that story. Oh, and it loves the struggle. Again, if this narrative is challenged, then it can no longer claim the role of tragic hero. Oh. But all of the patting on the back we get for that. For being the sad, lonely lover who is so good and pure but is never reciprocated. Oh, how sweet. How much approval does that earn? Proving my worthiness by suffering. Again, proving worthiness by denying it, essentially. Oh, it's so twisted. Oh, man. Enough of the proving. I accept this part. I accept this exists within ego and this part of me. And it's not wrong. I just know I don't need to prove a damn thing. I'm here to receive anyway, whether or not there is suffering or struggle or work. In fact, I'm here to just bask, honestly. To experience this other stuff too. Obviously, that's a part of it. I don't deny that. But my soul knows. My soul knows. This is a character. This is a role. This is not the truth of myself. This is not how myself really feels. It's an idea. It's something to play with, something that it has played with again. A costume to try on. A story to tell because it likes the drama. And that's quite a dramatic one. Oh. But the truth is, it's all good. I'm reminded again of Alan Watts talking of a guru speaking to a disciple and saying, "Come off it, Shiva. What are you doing pretending to be this man with all these problems?" And just the smiling of going, "Yeah, you caught me. You caught me. I was just playing. I was just pretending to have problems. I was just pretending to struggle and suffer. Because it's fun to pretend sometimes. Because it's fun to be in that fantasy. The fantasy of separation. The fantasy of lack and loneliness and unworthiness and disconnection. Oh, it's just a fantasy. It's not real. But it's fun to play. And that's all it is. We're just playing. So I'll let that part within me have its fun playing. Pretending that it's not worthy, pretending that it's unlovable. And I'll just know it's pretend. And just watch the play. Watch it in its masterful performance of great sorrow and suffering. And all the while, I can stay here in ease, in acceptance, in approval of all, relaxing into the security of myself. Which is worthy and well, and receives in abundance, and is certainly delighted to receive love, because it delights in giving. It delights in giving love. It knows what it gives is good, and it knows it gets just as good as it gives. And it is always good. All of it. It can't be anything less. There is nothing serious happening here. Nothing at all serious. All of it is play. All of it is fun. All of it is just for enjoyment. So much make-believe and pretend and getting to experience everything that we want to. It's really a pretty wonderful, magical thing. So it is. All is well. Have a beautiful afternoon.